Hey to all of you guys, what's going on YouTube? It's 3D Res. Welcome back to Pokemon Pocket. And now the brand new PvP event is officially underway. This time around, you got to get yourself 45 wins within the span of 2 weeks. Very similar to what the first one was that came out. You're probably wondering, what decks am I to run? What decks work well? What decks don't work well? Well, I ran off meta and somewhat semi-meta with my 4 decks, and I changed it every 11th win. And none of these decks had Celebi, Mew, so you're in good hands, okay? If you don't have any of those cards, don't worry, I've got you covered. Because I feel as if these 4 decks cover every single span of everything else that is out there. Maybe a few of them might work better than the others, possibly. But whatever it is, let's dive into the first deck. I think you guys will be interested because it is the one that is on the screen here. Alakazam. This is as off meta as you are possibly going to find and ever play within the whole grand scheme of the game at the moment. Obviously, you're seeing your Celebis, you're seeing your Mews, you're seeing possibly your Executors, even Vaporeons. But you're not seeing Alakazam, okay? You're not. However, this does catch people off guard. But that doesn't mean you're going to be winning every single match. It took me a while to win my 11 matches with this deck. Obviously, this being my first deck. It definitely took a while. But it was fun. And as I told you guys at the very beginning of the video, you're going to get fun decks out of me, okay? You're not going to get some meta stuff. You're not going to get some boring decks that are going to steamroll everything. This is a deck where you have to have patience. If you don't have patience, then get out. Did I run over there? Get out. But no. Alakazam is going to require you to dust off your cards, because we do have Golbat in this as well, which is a card that never gets played anymore. And we also have Slurpuff. You're probably thinking, why on earth do you have a Slurpuff here for? Well, if you guys have been around on the channel for a fair bit now, you'll probably remember that I made an Alakazam, Clefable, and Golbat deck. So instead of Clefable this time around, we put in the brand new Slurpuff, which is obviously Clefable, but an extra 20 attack, and an extra energy cost attached to it. Need I say more? Does it do any better? I mean, kind of. It's literally non-EX Wigglytuff. Just putting that one out there, okay? It's literally non-EX Wigglytuff. But the main star of this is, of course, Alakazam. And as I say, you have to have patience with this card, being 130 health. Obviously getting absolutely decimated by Dark. There's a lot of Dark decks going around now, especially with the new Weezing, Scolipede, the whole damn lot. I blame you, Mega Mogwai, for that one, okay? I really do. But Alakazam does eat into a lot of tall boys, like you can see here in this video. And it was just surprising to see a lack of these tall boys going around, because the moment I started running this deck, there was just none. The Celebis were gone, the Mewtwo's were just non-existent, and when they did appear, they either ramped up quicker than what I did. But Alakazam is definitely a joyful time. If you guys never played during the soft launch, you might have seen this thing during the early weeks of the game's global launch, but other than that though, he drifted off pretty quickly. But it is always going to have a special place in my heart. And it is one of those cards that does throw people, like it throws people in the wrong direction. It makes them do mistakes they would not have originally have done. Because if you saw before in this gameplay, they actually put an extra energy onto their Celebi, which they should not have done. I don't know if they knew how Alakazam works, I've got no idea. But it also makes people not take you seriously. It catches them off guard. And that's what you really want with this. And of course, when you throw down a Golbat, you have that little bit of psychic edge. So you've got that little bit of counter there. Something you wouldn't have had otherwise. As I say, I had to keep something original in this deck. And that is what I went and did. A little bit of coverage there. But as I say, you're going to be seeing quite a fair Muse going around. And Golbat is going to be your friend for that. Especially if you can get that thing under the active. But that is Alakazam, ladies and gentlemen. As I say, you got to dust off your cards this one, okay? You got to have patience as well. It's not meta. It's very off meta. But when it gets the job done, when it gets the ball rolling, it is honestly pleasantly surprising to see the numbers go. It is Alakazam. Next up, I have for you, Blaine. You really think I forgot about Blaine, did you? Well, you're wrong. So, I have you meta heads covered with this one, okay? But this time around, you're probably noticing a very weird card inside of this. It is the brand new Magmar. Okay, so hear me out, right? I had to throw this card in here just for like trial and error purposes. And it actually worked pretty well. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's a bad card in general. I would never recommend playing this thing. If you're ever going to consider playing one of the two Magmars, play the one that's been in the games at the very beginning. The one that actually has no downsides to it. But this Magmar is a little mini nuke. And spoiler alert, okay? Spoiler alert. I actually do get the final kill with it. I had to do something with this card. And that is what we went and did. But of course, the deck is not about Magmar. It is about the brand new Rapidash. This is a card that I don't think many people are talking about. Who knows? Maybe because they just don't deem it to be as good as the original Rapidash. Hocus pocus, okay? That's why I say that. I could have said something else, but I wasn't going to. But the new Rapidash is a heck of a lot of fun, especially when you land that coin and you have Blaine attached to it. 130 damage, okay? It's like the chef's kiss, alright? 130 damage. But better yet, if you're going up against a Celebi, that's going to nuke it. It would have nuked it anyway without the Blaine. It's kind of crazy that you have components inside a Blaine that still steamroll any deck, no matter what it's going up against. And there are even weird times where if you're lagging behind, if you get a coin flip or two from Ponyta or Rapidash, the match will almost instantly be transferred into your favor. And that is why I feel as if the new and improved Blaine is a little bit better than the old Blaine in a way. Obviously, old Blaine is far more consistent. I can understand if you don't want to run the new Rapidash, run the old one. I wouldn't say otherwise. But I would say you're missing out. And this is something that really did shock me. How many times I flipped the match in my favor. I even played this deck off stream as well, outside of the event obviously. But the amount of times you can flip any match in your favor with a couple of coins, it's going to be eye-opening for the opponent, because they probably thought, oh, well, I had the win in the bag here. It is fine. They're not going to do anything much to me, right? Right? Go out there, pull out a Blaine, whip out the max damage. There's really so much you can do with this deck that is going to throw people off guard. And even when you have access to your Geos, you can still clean up. So even if you don't have Blaine, you can throw Geo onto Ninetales. You know how that one goes, okay? I mean, I don't have to explain that one to you. But ultimately, the new and improved Rapidash, I just think does wonders in here. I would have tried this with the old Rapidash, but I just thought, well, what's the point? You kind of got to go all out, okay? This is an event after all. People are going to be playing meta. They're not going to be taking you for a walk in the park. They're going to literally be taking you on a hike. And if you get to the very top and you don't get your kills, your winning cards, they're going to push you right back down again. But ultimately, it's a very fun and enjoyable deck. It got me the wins lightning quick. If I remember, it got me the 11 wins in just under an hour and 10 or an hour and 20 minutes, I believe it was. It was just bam, 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 bam. Through the matches constantly. Next, 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 next. Come in, next. Get out of it. It really was something that I was not expecting though. Because obviously, you're going to be up against a heck of a lot of stuff that does at times knock the Blaine out of the way. So, in other words, they will try to get that out of you. But you got to kind of tiptoe around it. You got to play around it. And I'm looking on the screen now with the brand new Magmar. It brings a tear to my face. It really does. But that is brand new and improved Blaine, ladies and gentlemen. Please do not knock this one until you try it. For the third deck, I have something very interesting. Something very spicy. Something that throws in a very valuable meta card into something that's not exactly considered meta. We are talking about the brand new Executor. Now, if you guys were paying attention at the beginning of the video, when I was showing you off the Alakazam deck, I did mention about the brand new Executor, that this is somewhat the new and improved version of Alakazam. It kind of is. It kind of is. It gets online quicker if you obviously have your Superior on the bench. But there's a caveat to this, okay? After 2 energy, Executor actually drops off in terms of damage. So what do I mean by that? Well, Executor goes 80, 100, 120. And obviously Alakazam goes to the 60, to the 90, to 120. And then past that, it goes 150, 180, 210. Whereas you get Executor, you're only going 120, 140, 160, 180 every 20. So you do drop off. However, as I said, you do climb quicker in terms of getting this online. It is 1 less energy if you have Superior on the board. But as I was playing this, I noticed something very interesting about the new Executor. Or should I say, the new Execute. It's literally Meltan. And Executor is literally Melmetal. Without, of course, the added benefits of the -20. But it has the 130 health. I was kind of shocked by that. I didn't even see this when I was looking at the card to begin with. Way back on the day effing came out. I was just... wow. It's Meltan. It's a grass Melmetal. But whatever it is, Executor does catch some people by surprise. Obviously, if you throw down an Execute, they're naturally going to think you'll be playing Executor EX. I maybe ran up against 2, 3 Executors. Some had the EX versions. Some were running the one I was running. It was kind of weird how it works, but at times it doesn't really feel impactful, if that makes any sense. It doesn't really wow anything, doesn't really take you by surprise. But it's just the little added ability of having this thing here and moving back and forth, getting extra energy per turn if you can do via Execute. There's just something strangely satisfying about it. And the moment you get a big hit off, you can even come in with Superior and clean up. Because Superior obviously only needing 2 energy to attack with. And it's a 70 attack. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. It kind of goes into most things pretty well. But it just feels... it feels kind of natural to be playing this. And I was kind of at home as well. Because obviously, as I was saying, it's very reminiscent to Melmetal. And obviously Alakazam as a result. And it kind of blends the best of both worlds into that. And it just really does go to show that if you run something off meta, you can actually win these things. And as you can see here, Executor is about to get the winning kill against the Pikachu. Spoiler alert, they do go ahead and leave. Obviously. But it's a joy. It's a joy to be running a brand new set of pineapples to the already really old stale pineapples we've had for a while now. So if you guys want something that blends off meta and meta together, then go ahead, run this card. You might have something brand new you may like. You never know. And for my final deck of choice, the one that got me my 45th win for the event, and got me my 1,300th win as well, is this weirdly crafted Weezing deck. And I was looking through the gameplays to select for this one, and I came across a game I completely forgot about, but it perfectly ties in poison versus poison. And you may notice as well, if you've seen this deck before, I'm sure many of you guys have now, it's been around for the last couple of days. This is actually Mega Mogwai's version of the Scolopy deck. Now, we did make our own Scolopy deck, but it was weird, alright? It was different compared to his. He was running the Salandit. I was actually very impressed, because I too was going to put Salandit into my Scolopy deck, but it just felt too slow. But enough of that. Enough of talking about that. We are here to talk about the Weezing deck that you see before you. This is something that I was very much looking forward to the moment I literally laid eyes on the card's description on Tuesday. It's crazy how they've one-upped the Weezing that originally was probably and still is one of the best stall tanks in the whole entire game. Obviously, it has the ability to poison. However, there's a big however. You're losing that with the new Weezing. But you can make it so that your opponent doesn't attack on their next turn if they fail the coin flip. That's the beauty of that. If they fail the coin flip, they're essentially behind at that point, and you can snowball. I don't know many times though where I did get that coin flip off. Maybe a few times. Did it really sway the match in my favor? Not so much. But there was some things where it kind of felt like, wow, that actually worked. I can now come in with something else, right? But of course we have Arbok in here too. I'm not going to talk about that Golbat. We're not going to talk about that, because you guys know how I feel about Golbat, okay? I think Golbat is absolutely energy efficient. It's, quite frankly, one of, maybe not one of the best cards in the game for being energy efficient, but it is one of the best cards in terms of chipping away at being energy efficient. But the Arbok in general works very well with this. So I've had it a few times where you can trap the active Pokemon for them, and then you can come in with Weezing, and you can make sure, or hopefully make sure, they fail their coin flip, and that is basically then that active Pokemon shut down. I mean, sure, they can always go ahead and retreat, they can be boring about it. I just thought, you can't retreat with Arbok. That's how this deck really does shine. You have the ability to trap something on the active, and you can come in with Weezing and hopefully make sure they don't land that coin flip, and then you can secure the kill that way. Like I said, I had it happen a few times. It wasn't very common, but when it did, it felt good. It actually did. But there's just something about making off meta into meta cards that kind of feels weirdly forbidden. It just shouldn't be, right? You just shouldn't be playing these off meta tidbits with the meta lords, so to speak. But the new Weezing is definitely something I think everybody should try. At least once. If you don't have access to the old Weezing, fret not. This new Weezing will throw you literally in the right direction, and it will take you by surprise. And I mean that as well, because I still don't have my second Weezing, like the base Weezing. So for me to actually finally run double Weezing, double Koga. Weirdly enough, 11 weeks on, soon to be 11 weeks on, it feels amazing. It does. It's like I've been missing out on this part of the game that I hadn't seen or hadn't experienced prior to this. But it really does make me feel... It makes me feel satisfied to be playing something that actually works. Something that feels connected. And that is why I didn't really have with the Alakazam deck in this event. I didn't really have it with the Executor Superior deck either. But this one definitely does connect all of those components together. And it weirdly makes things pop. Sometimes you can, as I said before, come in with Arbok, then you can roll in with Weezing, you can roll in with Golbat, or whatever it is. You got some avenues covered. You have different aspects working for you. Some other parts of the deck may be missing, like your Koga, for instance. But that is why I included double X speed into this. I was going to put Leaf in here. I was. But I was like, what would I really take out for in favor of Leaf? Obviously, we had the Geo in here. Geo, at times, did allow us to tip the scales in our favor. So, say, for instance, if someone had 60 or 70 HP, then we were able to obviously eat into that. It was great against Celebi as well. It was pretty surprisingly great. So, obviously, Arbok being able to track down the Celebi, and then you come in with Weezing. If they somehow pass the coin, they may retreat or whatever. But then you have the combo with Sabrina and Arbok, which, by the way, is still very much underrated. Very much underrated. Literally yoinking in something with Sabrina, entrapping it with Arbok. It feels fantastic. It really does. But the gameplay is coming to a close now, and I'm going to say thank you so much, guys, for coming to this video. Really do appreciate it. If you please hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button as well. Let me know in the comments below what decks you have been running for this event. Maybe one of these decks interested you to run them outside of the event. Possibly. Let me know. I would really love to find out, because 45 wins is no easy feat for many people, especially if you are literally starting out, or you don't have the meta cards, and you're probably wondering, well, what do I run? Well, hopefully this video kind of gave you an idea of what to run. Hopefully it did. But I don't know, guys. Take care, stay safe, all that good stuff. Low today. We'll be doing for the next video, next live stream guide to play some Pokemon Pocket. And as always, goodbye for now. Bye-bye.